Life is what happens when we're busy making other plans. Welcome everyone today to Parenting by Design. No one really prepares for things that life throws at them. And today we're talking about a very important topic, something that is very dear to my heart, and I'm very sure it's dear to lots of parents' hearts. The sentiment when we talk about life happens when you're busy making other plans resonates, especially when we consider the journeys of parents raising children with special needs. Parenting is a journey filled with unique challenges and joys. I can tell you that firsthand. And for many, it involves navigating the complexities of special needs. Children with special needs may require additional support in various aspects of their lives, from the physical, the emotional care to educational needs. However, these children, they teach us resilience, empathy, and the true meaning of unconditional love. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from Obiageli Obi as she shares with us her journey on her care with her amazing daughter. I know her. Obi, welcome to today's section. Can you talk to us about yourself and about your journey?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Erika, for having me on here. The journey of parenting, everybody knows is there's no leave, there's no surrender. It's a lifetime gift, if I may call it that. So yeah, I have four kids, a boy first and three girls. Then I was blessed, my third child, that's my second girl. I was blessed with a very special extra chromosome daughter. She has mosaic Down syndrome. I would start with the journey of her pregnancy. It was a really tough one. I bled a lot. I mean, if I sneeze, I'd had blood trickle down. If I cough, if I stand up from the bed, I was on bed rest almost all throughout the pregnancy. I'll go to hospitals, scans, test upon tests. I wasn't told anything concrete. I think by month six, one of the doctors just said to me, because my file was becoming this thick, one of the doctors just said to me to abort or terminate the pregnancy since they couldn't ascertain, different doctors had different diagnosis, since they couldn't ascertain what the problem was with my constant bleeding, but the ultrasounds will show the baby was viable, growing well, no issues. So it was perplexing to them, where the cause of the bleeding and all of that. So by month six, one of the doctors suggested I terminate, and then myself and my husband, we prayed about it. Personally, I didn't have the peace. I know, yes, a lot of people, my family was saying to me, oh, your life is more important. You have to think about yourself. You have more children. You already have kids. I had some dreams, but I didn't have peace about terminating the child. And then I went back to the hospital and I said, no, I will see this through no matter what, which I did, fortunately. But towards the end of the pregnancy, the bleeding had stopped. I was getting better. I was adding weight because I was very thin. I couldn't keep down food. I was getting better. I had her on a beautiful June 8th day in the afternoon. She came out one of the biggest. I think she was like 3.8. So yeah, she was really healthy. She's out of my kids. She scored the highest ABGA test. I think she was like 8/10. This big, fair, full hair baby, lovely, you know. But the journey really began. And as at birth, she still wasn't diagnosed as special needs. If they handed me a healthy baby, nobody said anything to me. It was by month three, and because she was my third child, you would know that there are some certain milestones, each developmental milestones they should hit at a certain period. So by month three, myself and my mother, we started noticing, oh, she's not been able to carry her head. There are some things the mother instinct, there are some things you just see and you can tell or you feel it, you know. And so we just, we chucked it to one side and continued. We just, every child, we chucked it up to each child is different. I mean, my second child, my daughter talked pretty quicker than the brother that was the first. So we just chucked it to children are different. By month six, she still wasn't sitting up properly or crawling. And then there's just that feeling that, oh, I don't want to know what it is. I would just, you don't want to know. So for her in particular, there was no health challenge. There was no, she wasn't a sickly child. She was sleeping, breathing, eating fine. It was just those developmental milestones in children, like the sitting, the crawling, the carrying of her head properly. She was still doing all of that, but she was meeting it slower than my other two kids. And so by her 1 year birthday, she wasn't walking. She could stand if she hold things. She wasn't walking. But I did put her up on my then I think it was BlackBerry we're all using. I did put her up on my display picture, and a friend that is a doctor called me to tell me, am I alone? Am I driving? Where am I? Am I seated? I was like, what is it? What's going on? She said, because she wants to tell me something, but as a doctor, she knows she's not supposed to do this type of thing over the phone, and she needed to be sure that I was comfortable. I won't be in any dangerous situation by the time I hear what she wants to tell me. I was like, did anything? And this friend is all the way in Abuja. I was like, did anything happen? Tell me. I know I didn't have anybody in Abuja that I mean she could have come in contact with. And she said to me, it's about my child. I was like, I think I know where this is going. And she said to me, she's suspecting because she's not seeing the child face to face, she can't give a 100% diagnosis. But as a doctor with experience and over time, she's suspecting that my child has Down syndrome. And she's telling me this because they are known to have some certain health conditions like hole in the heart. Some of them come with cerebral palsy and all of that. So she wants me to go check her out. Excuse me, she wants me to go check her out just to confirm. And I was like, thank you for this. But the moment I dropped the call, I cried. I bawled my eyes out. I wept like I lost somebody. It was really heartbreaking for me. But I think for days I didn't go out. I was really down. Another of my friend came to check in on me. I told her what was going on. And the next day she came and said, get in the car, get your daughter. I have somebody we could take her to. And we went to see this doctor who was a known pediatrician. She just even came back from Uganda, I think. And we went to see her in FMC, Federal Medical Center. Told her my story from pregnancy to where I am at that point in time. And she looked at my daughter, did some tests, tapped her knee, checked her, listened to her heartbeat and all of that. She said to me, no, that the noise she's hearing in her heart seems like the type that every child has, that as they grow up, it closes. She's not hearing any heart murmur to indicate a hole in the heart. She called another doctor to check, and they both listened and they said the same thing. The doctor said the same thing the other doctor said, and he wasn't even there in the room when she said it. And she said to me, come with me. She took me around the children's ward and showed me there were some kids there with, I mean, like we said, parenting is not easy. There were some kids who's been in the hospital since birth, some children with some really, really tough diagnoses. And she told me, wipe your tears. Yeah, she knows these things happen because I was blaming myself. What did I do? What did I not do? Did I know I forced myself to take my vitamins then, but still. And then you hear over time that with Down syndrome, one of the major factors would have been the mother's age. But I was really young then, still in my late 20s or mid 20s, I think. So I beat myself up a lot concerning my child's needs because I was wondering, is it something I ate? Is it something I drank? or is it something I did not take that I was supposed to take? And I did remember the doctor who told me to terminate, but I kept saying to myself, I wasn't given any diagnosis. I started reading up on it, and there were tests that they could have done to ascertain this. There were tests that should have been carried out to know ahead of time and prepare me ahead of time if I still wanted to go ahead with it. When I started reading up on the whole Down syndrome and their needs. And after that doctor visit, of course, I went through the 5 stages of grief. I did go th- I did go through the 5 stages of grief. I mourned, I picked myself up and all of that. And I started reading up, I started researching about her diagnosis. I started researching about Down syndrome. I divulged, ate, drank everything concerning Down syndrome. Um, I wanted to know more on how to help my child. Because the truth is, I started realizing very, very quickly in the area where I live, in the area where I live, in the area where I live, we had little or no resources to help
Yes.
children with special
Hmm.
needs. I
Yes.
started realizing that quickly because the things I read off of the internet and I really want to implement, there was nothing around me to help, no resources, nothing to help, not even
So
the
when you got
school.
to that point and there was the school couldn't help, the resources were not available, what did you do? How were you able to help her in that environment where you knew that it was absolutely, we grew up in the same environment basically, where you know that there was practically nothing. You don't even have a school system that can even help your child. You practically are the
Nothing.
one teaching the teachers what to do. So how did you pass that hurdle? How were you able to overcome the hurdle of knowing that 90% of what needs to be done about your child rest on your shoulder?
The same way we do the do it yourself act and craft things, that's how we do parenting too. It's do it yourself. It's not everything you leave for the society or for the government or for the schools and all of that. I did a lot of things for my child by myself. I started following a lot of Down syndrome organizations online. When Instagram came out, one of the first accounts I followed was DFS, is a Down syndrome foundation there in Canada. I really thought that I would come partner with them and everything. I think they're even in BC or Ontario. I can't remember where exactly, but I did follow that account. And there were two mom. I think one is in America and the other one, I think both of them are in America. I started following anything, and the first mom I followed, her child was blending words, was reading. I still have my chats with her on Instagram, our DMs, and I DM'd her to say, "How are you doing this?" I mean, because my child already has the speech delay. One of her issues when we did the test for her was the speech. She has speech delay, um and they were if in on the cognitive scale, I've forgotten her score now, but on the cognitive scale she really ranked low. On the sensory and motor scale she was mid. There were some tests they did for her and all of that to ascertain. So I sent this mom the result. Look, how did you help your child with all of this? And she sent me some resources free of charge to use for my daughter. I couldn't get the speech. There were these speech tools they have to help them know how to roll their tongue and all of that. I couldn't get that. Amazon wasn't as viable as it is now. Back
Because,
then,
yeah.
this was yeah. I couldn't get those speech tools for her, but every other thing the lady sent me, from their diet, food, what to do for them, music, how to just, she told me a lot. And I started implementing that. And it's there with her and her siblings. We did all of that for her continuously. I tried my best, and then she was picking up. And some people say to me, "Oh, B, what did you do? How did you do it? Who did?" We didn't go for therapy. We didn't go for anything. It was what I was doing for her with the help of her siblings, because she also needed
The support.
social skills. Yeah, she also needed other people around her for her to emulate and see. So I'll tell them to say this to her. They'll say it to her. So she will try to repeat it. And then we start having it as a conversation, teaching her how to talk and all of that. So it was things I did on my own, of which people started referring other people to me, like like as if I was an expert, but it was just a lot of do it yourself I was doing in that environment. Eventually, when I found a lady, Ife, but she was all the way in Benin, um, for her to be coming for speech therapy. We did that for like, I think, a month, and the lady said she couldn't keep up with the distance coming from Benin to Asaba, bi-weekly, that she couldn't keep up with the distance. It's tough for her. In fact, one of the days she was coming, their bus almost had an accident. And that was the only time I could offer her speech therapy. So another person referred me to a special school there in Asaba. But when I went there, it was more of it, I felt it was more of a care home, not like a where they just want to care for them and make them okay, feel all right. That's how I felt the place was. And my daughter then was in a very impressionable age. One of the things that American lady told me was Down syndrome children, they mimic people easily. They can read off emotions. And I saw that with my daughter. When I'm happy, she knows. When I'm sad, she'll come give me a hug and sit next to me. Even if she doesn't say it, she will literally glue next to me. So they are that discerning with emotions, especially. So I said if my daughter comes to this place, she will start acting like them. I messaged the American lady and said, see. And she said to me, no, she will start acting like them. I said, this is exactly the same thing I felt. She said she needs to be in a mainstream school. If I want that, her daughter goes to mainstream school.
Okay,
She's
so
in a
if you don't
cheerleading
mind, if
squad
you
and
don't
all of
mind,
that.
can you tell us what the mainstream is when you say your daughter has to be in a
Oh,
mainstream school?
mainstream school is quote unquote your normal school. We don't like using that word
Inclusive.
normal because normal
Right.
is um different for everybody. But we call them mainstream school where it's already a, a known curriculum or a standard way of doing things. But now within that mainstream school, a lot of people, I think over the last 8 to 10 years or so, back home in Nigeria, I'm speaking from where I'm from, have started implementing the special needs aspect. When my daughter was going to school, no teacher knew what to do with her. They just leave her in the corner of the class. She will sleep till I come and pick her up. Sometimes they leave her, she will walk around the school corridor. One time, my nanny went to pick her, they were looking for her. The teacher did not know where she was. I would go to school, I would rant, I would question teachers, I would at a point I was like, they don't know what to do, really. Because that same school was fantastic to my other two children. They were excelling, they were doing well, they were the top of the class. But with my special needs daughter, they didn't know what to do. I had to pull her out of the school, took her to a smaller school to see if it has to do with size of class and number of students, because obviously she needs that one-on-one attention. Took her to a smaller school. This smaller school did try their best, but then again, we're short on resources. We were short on that one-on-one care, one-on-one hour that she needs. I remember having a chat with the owner of the school and saying, I'm not saying you give her one-on-one throughout the 7, 8 hours she's in school. I'm saying you can section this thing and be like, okay, she has one-on-one from so and so to so and so time, and then she joins the other class the remainder of the time. But still, because they were understaffed, the teachers had to do a lot, even as it was a small school, she still had to do a lot for other children. I pulled up out from that school again, and we went back to the former school where we were, because before we went back, I had gone to speak with the owner of the school. She had called me to say, oh yeah, she just came back from a training abroad, and yes, she's understanding the whole special, because she herself, she's an educationist. Her PhD and everything was in education. So yeah, she's trying to implement this special needs section. She had gone to train some teachers on it, and I was like, oh, wonderful, great, And so we went back to that other school.
Hey, just hold your thought on that because from most of what we've said so far, one of the challenges is actually getting resources and the people trained to be able to handle these children out of the home. Apart from the fact that most of the things were done by yourself, you also needed external support from the school system, which from the environment at that time wasn't available. So for me now, how when you went back to the school, how were you able to bridge that gap between what the school had and what you were doing on your own? Because you seem to be more resourceful than they were. But other parents would want to blame the society and say they should be able to do something. Why are they not doing something? So, what gave you, number one, that drive to really take it upon yourself to say, yes, I will do this for my child? And secondly, you went back to the school. How did that pan out?
Um, Parenting is a responsibility. It's first of all your responsibility before, like I said, any other external person or any other external um, organization or any other external resource. It's your responsibility first. Biblically, we're told it's us first. And so, even from birth, as my child, I knew the burden was on me. I wasn't going to put it on anyone. Till today, even where I am, I'm not putting it on anyone. It's still my child to nurture, to care for, to love, and everything. So, me looking for other people, it's more of I need your help. I'm not putting it as you must help me. So I always do the work first. When it came to her health, at age 3, she had her tonsils removed. When we went for that surgery, prior the consultation before the surgery and everything, because we noticed she was having sleep apnea. She's sleeping and then she will stop breathing for a few seconds. I did my research on sleep apnea and I realized, my God, if oxygen does not go to the brain, it becomes a bigger issue. She starts sleeping with me. I don't sleep through the night. So when she goes and holds her breath, I'm the one tapping her and moving, to keep breathing. I kept doing that. I went online. I needed this machine called CPAP. There was no way I could get it anywhere around me, except if I, excuse me, find somebody traveling abroad. When we did that tonsillectomy surgery, I read up on it. I watched videos on it. I knew it was a 15-minute surgery or thereabout. It's not supposed to take the whole day. It's not supposed to be long. But she was in that theater for hours. Another boy that went for an ear surgery came out before her and she entered before the boy. And I was like, what's going on? We started panicking. And hours later, they brought her out with oxygen stained with blood and everything. I was screaming at the top of my voice, what is wrong? What's happening? And the doctor said to me, they were trying to revive her, that she lost her breathing and everything. I was like, why? Tonsillectomy surgery? Not what I watched. The most I know, the is a very quick surgery. Now, in her recuperation period, she will be getting better. But after a certain medication, her oxygen level goes down. We used more than 4 oxygen tanks until the owner of the hospital came. He just took a look at her chart and he goes, Madam, are you allergic to any medication? I was like, nope. And he turned to my husband, are you allergic to any medication? And he goes, no, but when he was a child, if he takes ampicillin or any, what they call those medication in tubes, that he start breaking out in hives. And the doctor said, Oga, you're allergic to penicillin. Your daughter too is allergic to penicillin. From her
Wow.
chart, he just saw, from her chart, he just saw that anytime they give her this, um, what's the name of this antibiotic? Starts with A. And
Ampicillin?
not ampicillin. It was a very popular antibiotics then.
Hmm.
I've
You
forgotten the
say
name, but it starts with A. Sorry, I'm forgetting the name. But anytime they give it to her, she
Oxygen
goes
level
into that
drops. Mm.
allergic reaction. And by the time I read up on it, worst case scenario was death. When she starts, her tongue swells up. The
Wow.
nurses will start using spoon or something to put it down. I'm telling you, that's why she had blood all over the oxygen masks. This was what was going on with my child. So it was the doctor who now told us she's allergic to penicillin. Ignorantly on our part, we didn't think allergy. My husband downplayed his penicillin allergy. Even all the while I'm married to him, I've never seen any allergic reaction. But I know he doesn't take those capsule. He doesn't take those capsule medication. Um, so we realized she's allergic to penicillin. So when it comes to even her health, when I'm having conversations with doctors, they ask me, what do you study? Are you in the medical? I said, no, I'm not in the medical field. I'm just a mother. They're like, oh, that they will want to work with such mothers who know, who are not ignorant. It's because of the
Mm.
yearning, the longing that I want to know. I want to help my child. So I am saying this because I always do the work first. So before I go to hospital or before I go to the school, I'm doing the work first. So I'm going with help me. I'm not going with you must help me. So going back to that school, now that she had trained her teachers, we could work together. She says, okay, this is now the head for special needs students. I took the lady's number. We talk often. We keep up to date. I'm like, oh, she tell me this is the book they are using. This is what they did for her today. They were still not perfect, you know. I mean, they had how many kids to take care of? It was a really big and busy school, you know. Um, but yeah, they did try. So we kept in touch. It was a back and forth, helping each other out, do this. Oh, I got the whatever book they for her, they'll send it to me to continue at home. They really, really, upped their game before prior to what had been. So that's why I went back to that school because yeah, it started the owner of the school had gotten and trained someone to focus on that special needs aspect. And eventually, when I joined the school system, I realized the special needs we talk of is not just your autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. It's not just any of that. It's also the learning disabilities. There were
Yes.
children with
Yeah.
dysgraphia. There were children with dyscalculia. And then you see, you're shouting and beating these children. Oh, you don't know math. Oh, you don't know. There were children that were obviously dyslexic, but we chalked them up and grouped them with other kids. I started highlighting and pointing that out that special needs is not just an obvious medical or health diagnosis. There's also the category of learning disability that we need to also
Exactly.
start looking
You
into.
know,
There were
as you began
ADHD.
to delve into this from the ADHD, from the dyslexias, and all of those other ones, we had a way of categorizing children back then. You're not good enough. You don't
Oh,
know anything.
yes.
I remember a son's child that was beaten in school. You know, back there where we are from, the beating, they don't even want to explore what are the options. Why is this child behaving this way? They just start doing the things that they know best to do because that's
You
all
don't
they
sit
know.
well. You can't stay
Then
one
yes,
place.
you,
You
you
don't
why
pay
they don't even
attention. You don't.
understand. The teachers are not even for them. Even it, I think it also has to do with it has to do again with the constraint of the knowledge they have available to them. They
Yeah.
don't even have enough resources. And again, like you said, it behoves on the mother and the parents to study your child and begin to research. We don't like research. And that brings me to a question. The society and the children with special needs. Why do they always find ways to categorize these children? I have parents who I knew back then who had kids and they would lock up these children. Oh, I don't want people to talk about it. I feel embarrassed about it. Can you speak to that aspect of the parents' life? Because parenting is not for the weak-hearted. Oh. It's not for the it's not for the weak-hearted. You need to have that boldness and you need to also have that courage to own up to yourself and not find a way to say, okay, you know what, my child has this particular, categorization. I don't want people to know because our society actually, kinds of, they don't want to see those kind of people in quotes and unquotes How did you overcome that? And how can you speak to parents to say, hey, come on, what's that?
Like I said, I went through the 5 stages of grief. I did not become this knowledgeable overnight. Towards her 1 year birthday, I didn't even want to celebrate it, honestly, because whenever I take her out, we had a lot of birthday parties to go for. I remember the few times I took her out, people will approach my nanny or come to me and say, ah, your child, is everything okay? She's not looking, sometimes she doesn't drool, but she might keep her mouth open. And they'll be like, is she okay? She looks sick. Then she had this eye bags under her eyes. And my nanny will come to me and say, ah, auntie, somebody came and said she's looking sick. We should take her to hospital. So I stopped taking her out. When we get invited for birthdays, I leave her at home. Towards her 1 year birthday, I was telling a friend I wasn't going to celebrate it. I don't have the power to explain to people why she's not walking, why she's not standing, why she's not talking. And the friend said to me, why? Why would you do that? For what? 1 year birthday? Are you her God? She really spoke some sense into me. It was that friend who organized her birthday. I had no hand in it. All I did was, oh yeah, see the money. You want to do the birthday for her, be? Oh yeah, take and do. It was the friend who brought the pool. In fact, it was one of the best, I would say, very beautiful low-key birthday. She brought pool from her house, invited other kids. She brought the photographer, the food, this small, everything. It was that friend that organized it. I had no hand in her birthday because at that point, I was still ashamed of bringing her out in public. We had this trade fair. We usually do that period. I didn't go with her. I don't, but I'll go with other of my kids. I didn't go with her because I was still at that period where I was ashamed. I had this other lady that said to me, you see this daughter you have, she is the one to show you the illustration of what Jesus's love can feel like physically. And when she was saying that to me, the day before, I was having a tough time. And it was this my daughter who walks up to me, gave me a hug, and told me, Mommy, sorry. She stayed with me, slept with me. And when that friend was saying that to me, it was like a light bulb moment to say, look, children are really precious. No matter the form they come in, they are really, there's just this part of your heart that they hold, tug at, and then you know that you can't let go. And from that moment on, I threw away that shame blanket and I was like, she's mine. Whatever anybody
Yes.
wants to say, she's mine. I am proud of her. She's amazing. From then on till now, there's nobody who meets this my daughter that doesn't fall in love with her. There's nowhere she goes to that she's not the star of the show. I'm not exaggerating. You know her. You've met her. I kid you not.
Yes.
She's the star of the show. She's loving. She's amazing. She's the sweetest. Living now here in the UK in her school. She keeps winning the kindness badge.
Oh my
Those
God,
little pins
I
they give
cried.
them. She has like four of it. When I'm taking her to school or her siblings are taking her to school, from old to young, hi Sachi, hi Sachi, the white kids, the black kids, hi. She's One time my husband said to me, does everybody know her in school? Back in Nigeria, the same thing. Here in the UK, what is she? I don't know. She's a star. She shines wherever she goes to. So by the time I'd removed that blanket of shame, I started honoring her for who God created her to be. I'm not going to downplay that grief, depressive, and shameful period when a parent discovers that their child is special needs. I won't downplay it because it's a period to go to. It's a diamond in the rough. You will find something. If if you if you are honest, I would say be honest with yourself in that state. Don't try and gloss it over. Some people, I don't, well, let me not say some people really because I don't have the whole picture. But you know how you want to, oh, I blame the doctors. Why didn't they tell me? I blame whoever. I blame, myself. Just be honest with yourself and say, okay, it has happened. It has happened. And I'm a Christian. We know the God we serve does not make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't what I did or did not do. This was factored in his divine purpose of things. This child has also brought me to finding my purpose, or not finding my purpose, more like understanding my purpose. I know I'm a great parent. I know I'm a great mother. So, and I realized I work easily with children. I I I I sip like osmosis. I sip in easily with kids, even with my friends' children, other children around me. You know, it led me to working as a guidance counselor in schools. And children would, it was the best years of my life. Children would come up to me, tell me things that they don't even share with their parents. Parents trusted me so much. Oh, I've seen the change in my childhood. Parents would talk to me, ask me, and I'll be like, who am I? The way the whole thing happened, I realized it was this child. So I know God knows what he's doing. I know why he gave her to me. And so it's left for me to honor her and say, this is who God has created you to be. I don't wish you were either or. I don't wish you were this. This is who you are. So that period, go through it, but don't remain in it. While you're going through it, find the purpose, find the why. Ask, if you're a Christian, ask God the why. You gave me this. Said children are gifts from God. It's a gift. So you gave me this gift. Why? Is there something I'm supposed to do with her, for her, or around her to other children? Because the truth is, you are the one wearing the shoe, so you know where it hurts, where it pains you. If I wasn't a mother to a special needs daughter, I won't go researching special needs. I won't go researching learning disabilities. I won't start understanding the the weight of how different each child is, even as they might come from one parent. I won't start understanding the weight of how each child, individual that they are, that even with your parenting style, you still have different parenting styles, parenting same children from one household. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Each of my
Exactly, I
children,
get that.
I don't use the same parenting style. So with my special need, my children will say, "Oh, I'm a permissive parent. I allow her do. She doesn't do so much chores like the others. She will do very little. Her younger sister does more than her, and then the younger sister will say to me, you favor her more, you allow her do this, you allow her get away with this. She's the only person that will drop her plate whenever she feels like to wash it. She will wash. And if her siblings want to say to her, come and wash your plate, and I'll be like, please leave her alone. With her, I'm a bit permissive, but I'm not like that with the others. And
Mhm.
fortunately for me, my children sort of understand. They are permissive with her too sometimes. They help her do a lot of things around the house. So go through that period, but don't remain in it. Don't wallow in it.
Amazing time and amazing section with you today, LB. I've learned so much about parenting in just this little time that we've spent together. And I want everyone who's listening to understand that every child is a gift. They come
Mm,
in different packages, but trust me, every child is a gift. I've been a parenting coach and I just want to share this out. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I held myself back. I'm like, no, I've been in corporate organization, I've done this, that's what I want to do. But it has always tugged in my heart back to the roots, back to the roots, back to parenting fundamentals and foundation. The foundation to parenting really is love.
mm,
Love propels you to do things that you ordinarily would not do. You look at a child and you're wondering, what do I do with this child? But the love in your heart kind of gives you the courage. It gives you that propensity to say, you know what, I'm going to move on with this. And like Obi said, go through the grieving period. Do not downplay it at all. It is good, but don't stay there. So if you're
yeah.
going through hell, don't stay. Go through it. Go out of it. It takes longer time for some people and takes a shorter time. But guess what? It's not the child's fault. It has
Mm.
nothing to do with the child. And it's also not your fault. Yes, sometimes they would say it's as a result of XYZ reasons. But trust me, all things eventually will work together for good. For everything that we go through in life, if you really search, there is something to gain out of it. For me, there is
Yeah.
no failings in life, there are only learnings. You learn, you move forward. You learn, you move forward. Obi, I want to say a very big thank you for being here today. What would parenting be if we don't have these nuggets or we don't have these little gifts tossed in here and there, right? We need all of these things so sometimes to keep us grounded. You
Yeah,
could
I
agree or
agree.
disagree, but we need them sometimes to actually keep us grounded. Bobby, you know my story now. I will share with us that we will understand and see life is a journey. But guess what?
Yeah.
Every single experience shapes us to be the persons that we are. There is so much about us we need to unearth. And the only way we unearth this aspect of our lives, like the way we do the onion bulbs with all of its layers, is as something happens to us, you see the layer of who you can be and could be. Who would ever think that Obi, soft Obi, would actually go through this kind of thing and still be the Obi standing? But guess what? It makes you stronger and it makes you
Yeah.
a better person. It makes you appreciate life. And as we bring this section to a wrap, Obi, just your final words to parents because we're actually doing this on Mother's Day, can you speak to a mother's heart today and encourage someone out there who is listening on to this call today?
Oh, happy Mother's Day, everyone. Father, mother, sisters doing the mothering. Yes. It's a beautiful thing to have a child. Um, we are called to parent, and no matter the child you have, special or otherwise, you are blessed.
Yes.
Nurture them, love them, raise them in the fear of God. Each child is different. Um, l- Learn to know your child. I think one of the key here is knowing your child.
Mm,
The same way you want to know yourself, learn to know your, don't just assume. Oh, we have this book, they'll tell you age this to this, these are the characteristics, age this to this, these are the characteristics. Now I'm parenting teenagers. While such books, I'm reading up on teenagers, and while such books will give you the outline of the characteristics of that age, but I've come to notice that with my own children, most of those characteristics don't apply to them. You understand? They'll tell you they are rebels, they are this, but I'm not seeing the rebelling in my children. So learn to know your child. Whilst we have those standardized characteristics for each age, if you know your child, you know your child, so that we don't label them wrongly. We don't
you
raise
go
them
fix them.
wrongly. So remain blessed, my mothers. Remain blessed, my sisters, on the journey to motherhood. God bless us. More strength. It's not easy. There is no day off. Even the days we have off from work, we don't have it at home. There are no days off. So strength, grace remains sufficient for us to do this. And please look for support. I would not lie and say I'm doing this alone. I have an amazing, amazing support group. The lady hosting is one of them. I have an amazing support group. Please ensure that you are not doing this alone. We are all in our support group, we're all raising our children together. Our
Mhm.
children, we know them, we try our best for them. So please ensure you have a healthy, godly support group. God bless you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that again. It takes a community to raise a child. And to mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And I must say to us that we are the ones who carry a lot of this burden. The men are very supportive. Seek out a support group and do not hide your head in shame. Really, we
Mm.
need to learn how to raise our shoulders high and carry with pride what we have, what we have been given. Looking at life sometimes, I have an amazing way of looking at things. Obviously, you know that my outlook about life is always upbeat, optimistic, and all of that. Life has thrown me some really good lemons, and I've learned how to make lemonades with them. But guess what? For every time you face a challenge, it's an opportunity for you to actually blossom. It
Yeah.
is it's an opportunity for you to grow. We just passed winter, right? It looked like everything was dead. I woke up one day and guess what? Spring was everywhere. I was seeing blossom flowers, pink, white, orange, and I'm like, where have you been all this while? It's the same thing when you go through tough times. Something is growing underneath. Allow that
Mm.
growth process to really happen to you. At the end of it all, you're going to create something as beautiful as the spring flowers. And again, to this, I want to say Happy Mother's Day. And thank you so much, Obi, for being a part of this. And mothers out there, you are stronger than you know. God bless you.
God bless you.